Well, I hope you enjoyed part one of this episode, and stay tuned for here is part two.
The other thing that when what you talk about, the gut health, is so essential for a healthy brain. So I saw your videos with the fermented foods, and I do fermented foods all the time. Every day I drink about 1 liter of kefir water. I always have some kombucha tea. I have my own, I make it myself, of course, because I don't even know if you can buy it here, but I have scobies. I have a whole SCOBY hotel. If anybody's in Ecuador and wants a SCOBY, I've got bunches of them. So kombucha. I do make my own sauerkraut and kimchi and, whatever. Fermented foods are so good for your gut. And that means your brain's going to be healthier, because without an unhealthy, with an unhealthy gut, you are going to have an unhealthy brain. You're also probably going to have an unhealthy heart, and you're going to have immune system issues. You've got to look after your gut. So that whole thing, and feeding those little buggies in your belly, you want to feed them good stuff. So you want to feed them, if possible, please, organic, especially things like kale and spinach, because they're in the dirty dozen. They are sprayed so mercilessly.
Yeah.
So you want to do organic with anything like that. And corn, of course. I don't eat a lot of corn just because my stomach isn't really fond of it. But if you do like corn, make sure it's not genetically modified, because it's one of the worst.
Yeah, and you'll have to do a little looking on that, because majority of the corn produced in North America is
genetically
GMO.
modified.
In Mexico, they tried so hard, and so it's a little bit, they had a really tough time keeping GMO corn out of those other countries and stuff. But so do some real good looking. But corn is not really a vegetable; it's a starch.
Yeah.
And I had a terrible time getting my husband to comprehend that for the longest time. And now he tells everybody, corn's.
That's funny.
He's hilarious. It kills me.
You know what?
But yeah, keeping good healthy foods, eat as organic as possible. If people are listening to this and they don't know what the Dirty Dozen is, if you just Google the Dirty Dozen and the Clean 15, you'll get a list from Environmental Working Group, I believe, makes it.
Right.
And it'll have what are the dirtiest foods, which meaning the ones that are used the most amount of chemicals on them, and what are the cleanest. And kale, strawberries, spinach, those are on the dirty list. So that's a great way, because yes, it can be more expensive to eat organic, but there's lots of inexpensive ways to eat organic too. So one, get to know who produces food in your area. Get to know your farmers. Go to your farmers market. Ask them questions. Don't ask them if their food is organic, because they'll have to say no unless they're certified. Right. But if you talk to them and actually find out what they actually use on their plants, you will find that majority of the farmers at the farmers market don't actually use much, if any, chemicals in their farming, right? So because organic, to be labeled that, they have to go through this massive amount, especially in North America. They have like hoops to jump through. That's incredible, right? And they have to prove so much. And then if their farmer sprays beside them, well, and it's a whole big thing, right? Yeah. So just get to know your farmer, get to know who grows your food, and do the best you can. But if you use that list, that can help you decide whether or not, like avocados are on the clean list. So organic avocados do taste different, but and organic bananas certainly taste different, but organic avocados are on the clean list. And so maybe that's not the best choice of where to spend your money if you have to be conscious of that, right?
You have to be careful. Yeah, exactly.
Get the strawberries and the kale and the
the strawberries. You definitely don't want to have conventionally grown strawberries. They are just viciously sprayed. So that's the other thing, keeping care of your gut. Sugar is a huge part of looking after your gut. It's also weight. It's also inflammation. There's so many reasons to cut out refined, like whole foods are so important. Like anything white, I basically stay away from. Rice, flour, sugar, all of those things. And that's really the best place to start, because that's actually the easiest place to start. Because just replace whatever it is that you've been eating white with brown, like whole foods, whole wheat. Now, I don't eat bread at all. I don't eat any grains. But if you do eat grains, try to do sprouted. Like if you're going to buy bread, get the sprouted bread or make your own sprouted bread. That's a lot of work, and I don't want to scare people away. But if you can't, because where I am, I can't buy stuff like that. I have to make everything because there's no way I just don't have it here. The good thing they don't have in Ecuador is genetically modified crops. Not allowed here.
Yeah.
So that's
and
a
a
good
lot
thing.
of European countries as well.
Anything that gets imported here that does, like, so some of the soy sauces and stuff that they're imported, they have a big sticker on them, genetico modificado. So you can't, so you know right away, they label anything that's been imported and has genetically modified. So that's good.
That's awesome.
The other thing for looking after your brain is like I said, sleep, stress reduction, learn new things. A lot of people think that these Sudoku and crosswords, but if you've been doing them all your life, that's not something new.
Right.
Your brain needs to create new neural pathways. So that means you have to stretch it. You have to maybe learn a new language, maybe learn a musical instrument. Maybe if all your life you've read romances, go and read a technical book on health. Read Don't Let the Memories Fade.
Yeah.
Do something that's different, that your brain really has to stretch. As I've gone online with my business more over the last 7 or 8 years, and I was doing it as a musician as well, I had to learn all of this online stuff to do programs and to put my courses online. And holy moly, I remember saying to my husband at the time, my brain is never going to get clogged up because I keep learning all this new stuff. And I think that's important. Get out of your comfort zone. Learn something that is so far out of your realm that you don't even know where to start. And I take all kinds of online courses, but I would, if I were back in Canada, I would probably go, well, of course, not so much now with this COVID thing, but go to a community college and take a course, because not only then are you learning something new, you're also socially interacting, which is the next thing about a healthy brain. You have to be with other people. We're made that way. We're human beings and we need to be with other human beings. We need to get hugs. We need to laugh. We need to make jokes. We need to tell stories. Storytelling is very important, journaling and telling stories. It's very important to our brain health. That connection is essential. That's why I even wrote a blog about it. I was so concerned when this whole lockdown thing came, because it is, to me, the biggest problem with that is the fact that people are socially isolated and they are not getting that very important thing they need for their brain.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm doing creative things is just fantastic too, for other reasons as well. But when you have to use your hands and your brain at the same time. I know when my kids were little, my son was diagnosed in grade 2 with high functioning autism, or Asperger's. Now I guess we don't call that term anymore, but we took him to Brain Gym. And because I had a younger daughter, I needed to take her with me because what was it, what am I gonna do with her? And so at the first appointment, I think Tyson maybe did all by ourselves. And then I realized, this would help her too. And so they both did the Brain Gym with the lady, and it was really cool. And my son used to, before he had a test, he would do the figure 8, and he'd start this hand with the figure 8, and then he'd have to do the opposite direction with, right? And it just makes the right and the left work together. And that's just really amazing. It wakes you up. It wakes up your brain. It says, hey, I'm ready to learn. And then that's the same thing as when you're learning to play an instrument, where you have to use your hands and your thoughts and your emotions and everything all at the same time. It does the same thing. It just wakes everything up, gets both sides of the brain firing and working together. And, I know one of the things I'm terrible at is exercise that has to do dancing, like choreography, like jazzercise and stuff. It used to be when we were kids, I call it nowadays. Yeah. And I've always said I bump into everybody, but that's what I probably should go learn, because it would be really, really good. Right?
Exactly. Because you know what that also does? The corpus callosum, which is like a strip of tissue that connects the right and left brains. With people who use their right and left brains all the time, like with music or choreographed dancing, it's actually thicker. There's a better connection between the two halves of your brain. So anything you can do to pull those together, do it, whatever it takes. And getting out of your comfort zone and doing choreo. I'm not very good at the choreographed dance either.
But I should do more. One of the things I have my clients do too is, make a list of the things that you've always wanted to learn. right? And then
Yes.
as things are starting to open up now, maybe you can do some of those things in person when you can, you know, encourage, because you get the social interaction of it, like you said.
Yeah.
But even, you know, take a look at what are those things that right now could you possibly start doing online, right? And learn some of those things and start looking. Like I've always wanted to learn pottery, and I don't know why, but I've always wanted to use a wheel and learn how to do pottery. And I know that there's a couple places not too far away, half an hour on both directions, but of course they're all shut down right now. So I'm looking forward to, as things start to open up, to be able to do that. And that's you know, it's a great exercise because you have to actually think, and you have to remove a bunch of the other distractions in your brain, or you could make a mistake,
absolutely.
Right? And you know, so just take a look at what are the things that you want to learn. Maybe it's scrapbooking or drawing. And just because, painting. You know, I've always loved to paint, but I mean, I'd never be able to, you know, paint. I'm not an artist, but that shouldn't stop you from having fun doing those things. You don't even ever have to show it anybody if you don't want to.
Exactly.
Right? But just do it for you because it makes you feel good, right? And it exercises
and it works your brain. It works
gets
your
the
brain.
Stress relief and all those kinds of things, right?
Like even things like knitting and crocheting, and we used to do counted cross stitch, and I did lots of embroidery when I was a younger woman, and those kinds of things also. You may think that it's not really working your brain, but it is. Now, after you've become really good at it and you're not thinking about it anymore, it's not stretching your brain. It's like anything else. You have to keep learning new things. And that's a good thing, because then it expands your whole personality. It puts you in new circles of people, you know, all of those great things that happen when you try new things.
Well, and go learn a new stitch, right? So maybe you've never learned how to cable, because if you're cabling, you're going to have to do.
It's a whole different
knitter, but I've always, because I can't keep the tension. I'm a terrible knitter. I keep trying to learn, and but it takes me forever to make anything. But you know, try a harder stitch that you have to actually think about more, right? Expand it, push yourself.
Exactly, and that's with everything. Yeah, it's true. That's probably people talk a lot about this neuroplasticity, and it is a real thing. We do create new pathways, but just playing video games, now they do have these programs. You can go and you get them online, but the best way to do any kind of a video learning program for neuroplasticity is with a facilitator, because you need that direction. I know there are a lot of these online programs, but the studies have shown that you really need to have a director or some kind of a facilitator help you actually get the most out of them. You can get some benefit, especially so like if somebody's never used a computer before, or they've never used any kind of a program like that, then the very act of learning how to do that is a new thing. So it's, you know, you just have to think, is this something I've never done before? Let's try it.
It's just like quitting smoking. We have to be the ones that decide to make this change in our health. We can't do it because everybody else is forcing us to do it, or whatever. We have to make that decision and decide that it's time for us to make a change, make a commitment to it, learn to visualize and see what life is going to be like when we achieve that, right? And really own that, really get emotional with what that is going to be like when you achieve that success, right? And that will keep you accountable.
Keep you on account. Exactly.
Easier, right?
Exactly. I think having support is such an important part of this too. Like your program, like we do these groups online and everything. It's so important to stay connected with others on the path, because it's really easy, especially if not everybody in your family or your personal circle is on this path. It's very easy to get pulled to the side and, well, just have this little bit won't hurt you. But yeah, it can.
Just pick it out. Just pick it out.
Yeah.
And I did that for years. My husband and my mother-in-law would say, well, just pick it out. She'd accidentally put breadcrumbs in the salad and just pick it out. And I did one day. I picked it out and I ate it, and I knew I shouldn't eat it, but I felt that pressured from that. Right. And then we got in the car, and it was, we were coming home for, I think it was Christmas or maybe it was Valentine's Day, but it was in the middle of the winter and we were in a massive snowstorm. Very hard to see where we were even going. It was like 30 some below, wind was blowing like crazy, and I could feel my stomach tightening, and I knew I was going to have violent diarrhea, and I actually passed out. That was when my husband finally realized how serious this was. I blacked out on him, and it scared the crap out of him. but it was basically, to me, it was an anxiety attack, right? Because I could feel things happening. I knew I was going to get sick. There's no place to go. If I'd be out in the storm with very little tree protection in that area we were in to be hidden from everybody, but I'd be out there squatting in the snowstorm. Pretty scary, right? And that caused me to go. And then within 2 months or so, I did it on him 2 or 3 more times. And that's when he realized that this was a lot more serious than he realized, and he needed to back me on it. But until then, he had that same attitude. Well, just pick it out. Just stop being so, so unreasonable and hard to deal with, right?
Yeah.
I'm trying to be hard to deal with. I'm just trying to take care of my health, right?
Right.
And and so that was a big turning point for our family. They really realized how important this
was.
Yeah.
It's too bad it had to happen that way, but thank goodness they did clue in. Yeah. I'm very much the same way with gluten and MSG. Oh my gosh. Another thing to stay away from, people, at all costs, because it's a neurotoxin. And if I ingest it, I'll stop breathing. I just stop breathing. My mom was the same. And, so my dad's kind of I guess the word is cheapskate. He liked to, everything was on a deal. Everything was a deal. And whether that came to food or whatever. So they would eat a lot of things that were on special, like when Wendy's would have a special, they'd get the coupons and they'd eat that. And, a lot of that stuff has preservatives in. And I'm convinced that that's one of the reasons Mama's brain went so fast, because after she closed her business, and they were home together and he was going out and buying food because she got to the point where she really couldn't cook. So he would go and buy this stuff. And I'm convinced that that's a part of the reason her mind went so quickly, because of the food. And then when she went in the nursing home, the food there was just abhorrent. It was just awful, full of food colorings and preservatives and everything. And nothing was created fresh there. It all was shipped in and then just reheated, and it was gloppy and nothing fresh. So I think that's why she progressed really, really fast. Like, she was only in the nursing home 16 months before she was gone. So. Yeah, and it's a whole huge, large topic, right? About the toxins and stuff that are in our food and our chemicals that we use around us and how that really affects our body. And but we'll leave that for another day. We'll be on here for True enough.
Well, anyway, I thank you so much for coming on today. This has been fantastic. A lot of great information here for people, and I know they'll really enjoy it. So again, tell us when your book comes out. How do people get it? How do they get their hands on it?
Sure. So it comes out September 12th. I have a link on my website, which is katekunkel.com, which is probably the easiest way because you can find it right there. But also it's on Amazon.com. It's available for pre-order even now. But it's just called Don't Let the Memories Fade.
Right. And it's is it coming out in paper as well?
Right now it's Kindle. We're working on the whole print stuff later. It'll be print on demand. But I'll be putting it up on all the other places as well. I've got Book Baby going to work on that, but I wanted to get the Kindle up because I had to get it in time for Mama's birthday.
Well, and that is, and when we put goals on ourselves like that, then it pushes us to stop procrastinating and worry about perfectionism and get it done and get it out there, because the longer we take to do that, the more people that are suffering that need our information, right? And so
exactly.
So hats off to you. Yeah, we just need to, I know, because I have my hallway is full of sticky notes for a whole layout of a book, and they've been hanging there now since like August of last year, right? And and they need to get off of the wall and into piece of paper. But
it'll come.
Right now, I'll get the podcast going, and that'll all come in time, right?
Well, you're helping people that way. Yeah, you're helping people that way.
Your blog is fantastic. So make sure you guys, so if you go to the website, and then you'll just see the blog connection there, right? And you have a lot of excellent. I was snooping through that the last couple of weeks, and you got a lot of really great topics there, and a story about your cat. So Kate didn't say, but she just loves to adopt stray cats, I think.
I think it's more like they love to adopt me. We have a half-acre property here and a 10-foot wall, and they come over the wall and they just make themselves at home.
Yeah. Well, and animals have that sense, and they show up quite often when we actually somebody needs them, right? And especially cats. And so that's really cool. Yeah. And so it was such a cool, but yeah, you got lots of great topics on your blog. And so people check that out because that is absolutely fantastic. Again, it's katekunkel.com. Connect with her there, and then you can connect to all the other places that she is at. So thanks again for joining us today, Kate. And bless you. I hope you have a fantastic day in Ecuador. And I know you have your resort up for sale. So somebody is looking to invest in a beautiful resort in Ecuador. Go check her out because it is really, really beautiful. So thanks again for coming.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us today for episode number 2 with Kate Kunkel. Just a reminder that Kate's website is KateKunkel.com. I'm sure she would love it for you to follow her. Her blog is absolutely amazing, so check that out as well. And if you want to follow me, my website is Yvonne King, YVONNEKING.ca. And you're welcome to join our Facebook group, which is called Follow Your Gut, Protect Your Gut, and Look for the Root Cause of Your Health. And we look forward to the next episode coming up next week. So stay tuned. And remember, Kate's book comes out on September 12th, and it is available on Amazon by pre-order or from her website. Have a great week, everyone. Remember to join us at yvonneking.ca/podcast to find all the information about how to connect with today's guests, as well as our show notes. And if you are listening on the podcast, you will find the YouTube link, and vice versa. If you're listening to it on YouTube, you will find the podcast link. So you can make it easy for you to watch it in whichever format you prefer, and as well to share with anybody you think might benefit from this information. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and we'll see you next week. It is a busy week here on the podcast with Super Launch Week, but it's also a really busy week in my Facebook group. If you're not a member of the group yet, please go and look it up and ask to join. We are happy to have you. The group's name is called Follow Your Gut, Protect Your Gut, and Look for the Root Cause of Your Health. This week, we are doing a pantry renovation challenge. So every day I jump in, give a short little lesson and a challenge for you. At the end of the week, we hope you will have your pantry all cleaned out, remove the foods that are expired, and the foods that you know you really shouldn't be eating. It's so much easier to stick to a program if you don't have that temptation teasing you all the time from your pantry. So maybe it's a better idea to just get it out of the house altogether. If it's not in the house, then you won't eat it. At 8 o'clock at night, you ain't going to go running uptown to go buy yourself a bag of chips. But if it's downstairs in the pantry, you just might cave and go and do it. So we'll also learn about how to read food labels and make good, better, best type decisions where, it's hard to make changes. But if we can make small changes every day, then we will probably have a better success and a more lasting success than if we just go cold turkey on everything. Everybody's different. Some people do amazing at cold turkey, but most of us don't. And so how can we make good choices every day to help make better health for us overall? It's going to be a fantastic week. Come ahead and join us for that. Click on the links and then get your workbook downloaded so that we can start with that on Monday the 6th. And if you are listening to this after the 6th, that's okay. You can catch up. It's not that difficult. So just send me a message and we'll get you added to the group so you can be part of the pantry renovation challenge as well.